Do you remember the last time that you took your medication? Do you remember which ones you took today or yesterday? Which ones are meant to be taken every other day or every 3 days? The unfortunate truth is that once a patient leaves the pharmacy, medication management is solely their responsibility. They're left to desperately self-organizing pill boxes and med grids with no checks, no balances, and no peace of mind for them or their loved ones. But what if we told you there was a better way? What if we told you that all of this could be fixed with the push of a button? Today we can. Introducing Modesto, the industry's first closed-loop medication management system. It all starts with our safe sealed medication pods that are pre-filled by our certified in-house pharmacy and mailed to patients automatically anytime their supply is running low. Once they arrive, these pods are then inserted into our revolutionary app-enabled medication dispenser. The Modesto dispenser works hand in hand with the Modesto app to provide real-time notifications and direct reminders while simultaneously monitoring every dispensed medication and missed dose. The Modesto Health Enterprise platform is able to support all drug therapies, including oral, injectable, and infusible medications. The best part? All of this information is pushed directly to the patient's Modesto app and stored in their Modesto app profile, which can then be shared with the patient's loved ones and primary care physician for ultimate peace of mind. By enabling full visibility into patient compliance and medication adherence, our in-house pharmacists know exactly when to send out refills before a patient runs out, completely closing the medication management loop with one simple system. This is Perigon Health 360, the future of healthcare.
Hey, welcome back to This Week in Pharmacy. Hey, NASP, what does that represent in our industry? I love going there. The National Association of Specialty Pharmacies is having their Super Bowl of their events from every year. This is the one that concentrates on our annual get-together of specialty pharmacy advocates and innovators across the nation. It's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. I love going to this. We're embedded inside the NASP's booth. We will be on one side of their booth with the podcast station, the NASP podcast. This will be our 4th year. This is a celebration. And a person that has been collectively several, I think this would be his 3rd year, that's been on our show several times is Dr. Chris Antypas of the great city, my city, the Steel City. And one of the cities that I have to say are rising in healthcare. We used to be a steel town, Chris, and now we're a healthcare innovator.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is increasingly noted as a healthcare town. We are also the birthplace of specialty pharmacy. For those that know specialty pharmacy, they know that Pittsburgh has been the starting point of this industry in a lot of ways. Statlanders being kind of the innovator in the space, and then you've had other pharmacies kind of bud out of Pittsburgh, and then Orlando became a hot spot. But Pittsburgh is known for healthcare and also especially for specialty pharmacy.
So, Chris, you're seeing it from multiple perspectives. You're seeing it initially from how it impacts your community as a community pharmacy owner and operator with years of service in community pharmacy. I think that's where you got your start. And now we're layering in technology. We're layering in very specific care that digs down into disease state management. You're going to be doing a presentation at the NASP in Nashville. The title of this presentation is How Pharmacists Reach the Apex of Managing Costs of Care. I want you to give our listeners today just an overview of that presentation.
Yeah, bear with me. I may have an internet instability here. But so at the NASP conference, I'll be a part of a panel of some excellent speakers. And the general idea and concept of this presentation is the role that the pharmacist plays in managing total cost of care, basically. We've been on this trajectory of trying to minimize what we spend on pharmacy from the payer perspective, where health plans and employers are trying to pay the least amount for these drugs. And we've relegated the pharmacy, the role of the pharmacy, to basically being a vending machine, where it doesn't matter where you go, as long as you can get it the cheapest, that's what we're trying to accomplish. And the more you think about that, the more time you spend on that subject and that idea, that concept, the more ridiculous it sounds.
Yep.
Because we know that the pharmacist and the pharmacy team more broadly, we can affect a patient's use of their medication. We affect that through education, through oversight and engagement. We affect that by ensuring that the patient has their questions answered and their concerns addressed. We can affect it by being available to them in times of need, when things go wrong, when they forget their medicine or life happens. And there has just been a completely insignificant amount of emphasis put on that role and its corresponding impact on the outcome of the patient. And so this session, it will dive into that, and it will begin to challenge how we view pharmacy and how we view pharmacists in this journey and this goal of reducing total cost of care. Because when drugs are used appropriately and effectively, patients do better, and healthier patients are less expensive. So the question is, are we focusing so much on the cost of the product that we're missing this other side of the equation that is very expensive? And oh, by the way, when people are healthier, it's also good for them in their life. And I'm excited about, really challenging the current approach we have and shifting from this idea of a vending machine to really a provider that is instrumental in the achievement of these positive and desired clinical outcomes.
A pharma economic professor, Dr. Joseph Mattingly, testified to Congress, and one of the excerpts that I found on Twitter that it was just fascinating for him of what he said was, if pharmacists dispense a prescription in today's model, they're paid for their service. If pharmacists teach, educate, spend time with a patient in the construct of that retail setting and don't dispense a prescription, there is no payment. And that expertise is completely missed when it's probably needed most. And here's a economical psychology reason for that. The pace of community pharmacy, which you've experienced for, I don't want to make you sound old, but 25, probably might be 30 years now. Bang, bang, bang. So much happening. People are busy. Rush, rush, rush. The specialty pharmacy side has learned that these medications are so important and so critical because it's serious diseases that are being combated. It slows the process down. Patients want to talk with their specialty pharmacist. They want to slow things down. They want to know their condition. They want to know what the medication's doing. They want to understand titration. They want to understand moving from one medication to the another. I can't go on and on about the NABs, all these medications, the nabs and all the NABs. I can't say. At the point that you've blended that community and that specialty together, and that's exactly what you're saying. We have got to make sure that we slow this down and that we get the education of the specialty pharmacist that's dialed into the treatment, that we get it to the patient, because that will save lives and that will save money.
Yeah, I think that, unfortunately, this kind of it's just a disappointing part of our industry is that money is what people care about in healthcare. It's not healthcare, it's health profit, as I've said, and some good friends who you've had on, Tom DePietro, he's a good friend and a community pharmacist out on the eastern side of the state. And he's constantly posting on his social media about the amazing stuff that he does. And it's only a fraction of what he does It's just what he posts. And I know this is common for a lot of pharmacists. They do a lot of great work, and they do it in the shadows because it's not recognized, and it's not compensated. So you incentivize, what you incentivize will get done. And there is no incentive whatsoever for pharmacists in any setting, really, to provide great care, with the exception maybe of some pharmacists that are attached to providers, where they're not, they're being paid and they don't have to worry about hitting RVUs. They just do a good job. That may be, and my younger sister, Karina, is one of those pharmacists where she doesn't have the stress of worrying about, have I seen enough patients to generate enough income? She's really there to support the physicians and the other providers. But outside of that, it's hard to, kind of identify a scenario where pharmacists are really incentivized to provide great care, as opposed to, I need to dispense all these prescriptions, or I need to move product. And as we're kind of coming to this intersection of, we just can't afford healthcare. We can't afford these medications. We can't afford to continue to put people in, the emergency room or the hospital and endure all of these expenses. So the payers are saying, you know what, we're out of options. And it's why you see states like Pennsylvania that have really given, on the Medicaid side, provider status to pharmacists, because at some point we're going to run out of money. And I think that the goal in at least one of my objectives in my profession, what I'm trying to accomplish, is to establish the role of the pharmacist, align everyone's incentives so that the economics don't create barriers to care, but then reward the outcome you want. So when A1C is going down, or when their Crohn's disease achieves remission for the patient, or when their tumor size shrinks and it's related in some way to the use of medications appropriately, well, there should be a carrot at the end of that. And I think that we have somewhat of an obligation to push the industry in that direction, because if we don't, we're going to really threaten the health of a lot of patients. A lot of patients will suffer, and somebody's going to step in. Maybe it's AI. Maybe we lean into AI when we shouldn't, or we lean in prematurely because we're out of options. And then we have a whole slew of potential issues that come from that. I'm all for supporting technology at Perigon. We're building this infrastructure. I'm talking on this panel because we have an infrastructure where we're going out of our way to assess patients and their outcomes and how they're doing in their progress. And we're looking to, pull that value back to the payer, the plan sponsor. And it's unfortunate, as I said, to be constantly focused on the dollars and the economics, but at the center of this is a patient with better health outcomes, and it's better for them. But we have to navigate the interests of the market, which is, how are you going to make me money, or how are you going to save me money? And I think we're on our way to doing that, especially at Perigon.
Well, there's something to gathering together as well, because now you can get to share those ideas from the panel that you're part of, and now mix in with other organizations that are supporting the patient. Accessia Health's going to be at this event. We are going to introduce you to Tiara Green, the CEO, who does nothing but make sure that medications are paid for, especially in that specialty environment. We get to mix these voices and these concepts up to continue to promote, to get this information to our payers, to get it to the physicians, to let them know there are teams, pharmacy care teams, that are ready to go. We have to be empowered to do so. The AMA, the NCPA, the NASP, the APHA, we're all ready to work together. We're not in this to have territory disputes. We're in this, let's make this work. Let's get the money that's here. Let's distribute the money to the correct places, and let's get moving as quickly as possible, because this population that we're in for the next 2037, we're supposed to hit almost 350 million Americans. and there are only actively right now about 305,000 active pharmacists in the United States. Do the math. Like we need more pharmacy care. Pharmacy deserts are going to get worse before they get better. I'm very proud of you, Chris, because of your work in pharmacy. Estes, community pharmacy, Perigon, specialty pharmacy, your technology love, your commitment to the Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association and the leadership there, and now your attendance at the NASP. What is it about the NASP specifically that you like going to this event?
I mean, I think they do an excellent job. One of the areas where, you know, under Sheila's leadership, the education, the knowledge sharing, the best practices, the focus on quality, the focus on outcomes, I think that they do an excellent job. I mean, if you want to go and learn and you want to get good quality information, NASP is a place to do it. And I think that it's, you know, it's becoming a great place to network with all, you know, folks from all walks of the industry, payers, manufacturers, pharmacies, innovators. And so it's becoming an excellent networking spot. But I got to hand it to them. I mean, the content that they line up, they put very careful thought into the content, and they're balancing both clinical, you know, stuff that's relevant for today, but also for the future and for tomorrow. Accreditation is a big part of our industry, and the accrediting bodies, you know, I think I have a lot of, you know, I have good things to say about them, and I also want to challenge them on the standards that I don't know are really being followed by all the players in the space. I think there's a, you know, there are limitations to what an accreditor, like a survey or an accrediting body, can really dig in on the, you know, the intimate things that go on in some of these really large specialty pharmacies. But by and large, you know, there are challenges that we're being, you know, faced with, and we've got to find ways to overcome them. Like, how do you deal with some of these, you know, the challenges of weather impacting your ability to get product to a patient? So specialty pharmacies rely on shipping medications, and we have medications that have, you know, limitations in their stability, and so they're cold chain products. And, you know, we've had a lot of challenges just in the last 24 months that of serious weather events in parts of the country, and we don't probably spend enough time thinking about, well, how is that going to affect the patient when you're trying to deliver a $15,000 drug to them that is cold chain and FedEx shuts down their distribution center? There are a lot of concerns, and these types of discussions are taking place because those of us that are in the industry we're all facing these challenges. And so what I've really appreciated is the ability to connect with colleagues that are willing to share some of their best practices, because to an extent we are all competing. You know, the country is our competitive landscape. We're all competing for all corners of the country. And so it's hard to engage with your quote unquote competitors when you're fighting for the same, you know, slice of pie, so to speak. But I do culturally, there is this openness and willingness to share some of these best practices that sure might give us an operational edge, but at the end of the day, it's going to help patients that are in need. And let's compete for business on other areas. Let's not necessarily compete on best practices that are good for patients. And that's how I would sum up NASP. I mean, I think just in general, it's very collaborative, and it just continues to grow. I was at the very first NASP meeting, and it has evolved, as I said. I mean, Sheila's fantastic, and as you know, I mean, they've just got great staff. They're advocating for our profession, so it's really important. The work they're doing is very important, and I'm, you know, proud to be a member, and I'm proud to be a part of the association.
We are too. We're proud of partners like Perigon Pharmacy 360, that what you're doing in the industry and how much that means, and your support of the NASP, where we've been a press partner of theirs for about 5 years now, and it's just been wonderful. Their innovation is real. It's not just talk. They'll come up with something, and the next thing you know, it's released. Like the certification of becoming a specialty pharmacist and some of that track. I mean, that was just brilliant. So I want to give a shout out to the listener. If you'd like to connect with Dr. Chris Antypas before this event and line up a time to meet with him in Nashville, go to perigonpharmacy.org. Once again, that is perigonpharmacy.org. And on that, that website, you'll find the contact section. Just fill in that contact section, get it out to the Perigon team. Someone will get a hold of Chris or reach out to him on LinkedIn. Chris, I'm going to be excited to see you there. We're excited to have you as part of the coverage of the NASP 2024 on the Pharmacy Podcast Network. And it's always good spending time with you.
It's my pleasure, my friend. Looking forward to it. We're going to have a good time down there and excited to share some of the stuff that we're working on. We've got some really cool leveraging of technology to just do better for patients. And a side effect of taking care of patients and focusing on what's in their best interest is financial success. That's how we view it. Do right by the patient and good things will follow. And we're looking forward to kind of having that type of discussion with a lot of folks in Nashville.
Excellent. We didn't get to get into the technology. I'm going to hold that one back for our discussion in Nashville. So we'll have some Easter eggs today that people have to follow up to listen
Sounds
to
great.
the full presentation. All right, Chris, go Steelers.
Thanks.
We're 3-0 finally.
3-0, baby. Here we go.
All right, I'll see you in Nashville, sir.
Sounds great. See you, Todd.